Hello everyone, Cole here with episode 38 of Questions for Cole. Today is February 3rd, 2021. There were not any questions from the congregation this week, so I've been left to my own devices, which is always a dangerous thing. I decided to look at a question that another minister was discussing online last week, and it reminded me of a few comments that I have received over this past 10 months or so of online services and messages. The comments I'm referring to were few and far between, but every once in a while we would get a comment sent in asking about technical issues. Things like, why was the volume so low on one of the hymns this week? Why was Cole quieter in one video than another? Why does Cole look so dim this week? I assume that was a question about lighting, but I'm not 100% certain. Anyway, we have tried to figure out ways to solve those technical issues, and I think we've been successful for the most part. But I was reminded of some of those comments when I read something this past week from a colleague. Let me read it from her post. Here it is. She posted this. It was good for a church. This was my son's response to, what did you think of the live stream service? Unpacking this comment with him a bit, his follow-up statement was, it looks like you know what you are doing with the content, video, etc. So then she wondered about what that comment meant. It was good for a church. Is the expectation of online church so low that anything decent is a surprise? Or what? So that was her post. There were all sorts of responses to her question, and some good points were made about what people's expectations of the church might be during this time and what people might be comparing us to. Other ministers shared similar experiences they had had with their own children and even members of their congregations who had responded to similar questions about their online services with comments like, it's okay, it's all right, it's fine, it's good for a church. It made me think about a couple of things. My first thought was about Jesus and whether he faced any of this kind of feedback in his day. Like maybe after the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus was asking around, checking to see what people thought of his speech. I wonder if anyone said, well, we could hardly even hear you way at the back. You could speak up a bit. Or maybe someone said, we couldn't see you very well from where we were. Have you thought of wearing brighter colors? Or maybe he just got a few people saying, Sermon on the Mount? Yeah, it was okay. It was fine. It was all right. The other thing I thought about was about what people might be comparing our services to. Not too many churches I know have a lot of extra money to spend on high-tech lighting and sound, nor should we. So if people are comparing us to what they see on television or the movies, well, we probably won't win that competition. That's okay. I was watching something on television the other day, and a well-known celebrity was talking about being interviewed for a TV show. And she said that the interview happened in her home. And so on the day of the interview, all of a sudden, all of these vans pulled up and people started hauling all of this equipment into her house and setting up. There were 3 different camera crews all shooting from different angles, and there were sound technicians and lighting specialists, and it was a whole production, literally. So here I am today with my laptop, and that's about it. I have lights, but they were already here when we moved in. I should say that I do set things up a little differently for Sunday service recording. I have a few tricks that improve the lighting for that one. And I think we do pretty well with the way the hymns are recorded with the words on the screen. And we've been very fortunate to have some very smart people help us with all of this right from the start, way back in March. But we're definitely a long way from Hollywood at this point, and I think that's okay. I do know of a few churches who just happen to have members of the congregation who are in the film industry. One person produces documentaries in one church. Another one has a congregation member that does lighting and sound for films. And they have, fortunately, offered their help to those 2 churches. And I guess those services are a step ahead of some of the rest of us. That's okay too. For me, the bottom line is that I don't think anyone is tuning into our services or our midweek messages for production value. or because it reminds them of the big blockbuster movie they watched on Netflix the other day. I'm pretty sure the message is more important to most people than whether I spent an hour in hair and makeup before recording. I didn't. Although I do have a wonderful new hairdresser that has taken over that job for the past 8 months or so, and she has been doing a great job keeping my hair looking the way I want it, which is exactly the same as it has looked since about 1989 or so. I don't like change in most aspects of my life. Where was I? Oh, yes. Our services and messages, lighting, sound. Important, yes, as far as hopefully people can see and hear. But I'd rather spend my time on preparing the content of what is offered than all the extras. Not that we won't try to improve things when we can, if it's something important, and if it's something that we can figure out without too much expense of money or time. Hopefully, when all is said and done, people will be able to say, it was good for a church, and that will be just fine with me. If I get comments this coming week wondering why I was so dim today, I will definitely take those as seriously as I always do, and I will strive to do better next time. And also, that's what you get when you don't send in any questions for me to answer in a given week. That's all for today. Send in your questions. My email is cole@selkirkunitedchurch.ca. I look forward to all your questions and comments and suggestions. Well, most of them. Have a good week, everyone. God be with you, and I'll see you again next time.